Okay, so just to put this into context, this was actually done in statistics lab one year, and it was done as a research design project. But basically, it came about because, I began to think about how when we read, some of us actually hear voices in our head. Now, that's perfectly normal. Don't think that, oh my gosh, I better go see a psychologist about this. It is perfectly normal to have that inner voice. And some of us have it and some of us don't. I began to wonder what determines whether or not we have this inner voice when we read, and does the sex of the voice we hear, does it have any effect on things like how we do academically? Does it have an effect on self-esteem, etc.? Okay. So we did a little project where people were asked to read a text of material, and sometimes the text was gender biased. So sometimes they read like text from a romance novel, which is, gender biased in the female direction. Sometimes it was like a mechanic's manual, so that would have been biased in the male direction. And sometimes it was just completely neutral, so it might have been a weather report. Okay. Anyways, we also then asked participants, after they finished reading, did you hear a voice in your head as you read? And some people heard or reported hearing no voice. And then if participants said they heard a voice, we asked them, was it the same sex voice as yourself? So if you were female, did you hear a female voice? If you're male, did you hear a male voice? So that would put you in this category. And then this one here is the category you were put in if you reported hearing a voice but of the opposite sex to yourself. So this would be female participants who heard a male voice and male participants who heard a female voice. So again, these are hypothetical scores, and I don't remember what these scores refer to. Let's just say they're self-esteem scores. In fact, I think they were. All right. So what we can do is find out, well, what is the mean for everybody in the same-sex voice level? And it's 9.10. If you calculated it, that's what it would come out to be. The mean for this group is 6.4, and the mean for this one is 10. So at a glance, and before taking this class, you might have automatically assumed that, oh, look at that. People who don't hear a voice, they have the highest self-esteem of all. And people who hear the opposite sex voice, they have the lowest self-esteem, of course, and then this would be in the middle. But now that you've had quite a bit of statistical instruction, you should know that these differences here between the means could be nothing more than what? Sampling error. That's all this could be. This could just be a fluke, right? We're seeing it in our samples. So it's true for the samples that there is this difference. But does that mean that this will also hold true for the population? Right? We don't know. We're going to have to do a statistical test. Excuse me. We're going to have to do a statistical test to figure out whether or not this is probably sampling error or sampling error plus something else. Okay, give me a quick sec so I can take some water. Okay, much better. All right, so let's plug the data into SPSS. And we're going to do, of course, the one-way independent ANOVA, but the first thing that we're going to look at is the test of homogeneity of variance. And this should look very familiar to you because you've done it before in the lab. And we also talked about this when we in the previous chapter on t-tests. So this tells me my dependent variable was self-esteem, so I guess I remembered correctly. So we're looking at this as our dependent variable. And then you always look at based on mean. And here's our Levine F value. And here, this is the probability of getting this statistic, okay, this F value. Now, question is, does this make us happy or sad? Well, is this significant or not significant? It is not significant. It's greater than 0.05. So are we happy or sad? We are. Remember, this is a test of an assumption. We don't want our S's to be significant, so we are happy. Yay! All right, now this is the results of the ANOVA. And remember that you are going to need to report two numbers for degrees of freedom. One is for between groups, and the other is for within groups. The smaller number is always first, and the larger number is second. Okay, so that means you can think of it as alphabetically. B comes before W. Between groups is first, within groups is second. All right. Now, does this make us happy or sad? This makes us happy. We want the ANOVA to be significant because that tells us that we're probably looking at more than just sampling error. There's probably a treatment effect. All right. So here a sig value less than 0.05 makes us very happy. Here, if the sig value was less than 0.05, we would be very unhappy because that means we have a violation. It means we don't have homogeneity of variance. All right.